Hello, I'm Dave Mowitz, and welcome to Successful Farming. On today's program, I watch a classic international 1256 sell at auction and then talk about price trends for similar collectible tractors. Then we feature a Catwalk built for a planter on All Around the Farm. Marji Guyler-Alaniz from FarmHer joins us and gives us her thoughts about agriculture. And after these brief messages, Ag Technology Editor Laurie Bedord talks about the latest advances in drone technology. So please stay tuned.
When unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs, began circling in earnest over agriculture a few years ago, they created quite a buzz. Yet many questioned whether these devices could really be a game changer on the farm. Companies like AeroVironment are working to prove that they can make a difference.
We invented the drone about 30 plus years ago, and it was mainly for the Department of Defense. About 85% of the aircrafts in the Department of Defense do come from us. We have millions of hours of flight time. And then we've seen another operation, which is helping people in agriculture to make better decisions. As a drone manufacturer, that also we pay attention to the analytics as well. Everybody's always asking for that ROI, what we can do for the crop, where we're at. What we did is we sat back, we wanted to make sure that we learned what the grower themselves was looking for. And what they're looking for is for someone to point out an anomaly. What we mean is a difference in the field that we can go scout to. As an example, when we're scouting a field manually, we only look at about 5% of that field. With the aircraft, or the drone, we look at 100% of that field with a very objective view. And we don't make claims that, hey, I can say that that is nitrogen deficiency in that field. What I say is there is a spot for you to go look at, and it is up to you to decide what you need to do to change, if you need to take a different mode of action to help benefit that plant. So what we're doing is we're giving in-season verification of different applications or growth stages of that plant.
AeroVironment's complete ecosystem also addresses the issue of efficiently processing images to help farmers make more timely decisions.
So the turnaround time from the time that you upload it to us to the time that we get it back to you, this is about 24 hours. So we actually give the user a notification via email or text when it is done stitching and that the report is ready. There is a dashboard that allows you to quickly view your fields to see what is going on in your fields. If you would like to deep dive into that, you can actually zoom back into your field. But it doesn't actually give you like a printable report. It is a cloud-based tool that is storing it there permanently versus a printable report that you're going to try to organize differently. So we try to look at this as more of a filing folder that is on the web. Under that 24-hour time frame is, a lot of plants are changing. The exciting thing is that our Quantix has what we call quick looks. Quick looks is in our ground control station. The second that it lands, we can now visually view that data that we've collected at a little bit lower resolution, about 10-inch GSD ground sampling distance versus the 1-inch ground sampling distance that we get on our data analytics tool. So you can still respond to that perishable information that you've collected by visually looking the second that your drone lands.
As drones steadily gain a foothold as a management tool to help farmers scout their fields for weeds, pests, and nutrient deficiencies, these devices are also taking crop adjusting to new heights.
We would send anywhere from 4 to 8 adjusters out at a time on, let's say, an 80 to 100 acre field, and they would be walking blindly. They would have no idea exactly where the location of the damage was, so they would have to walk the entire field. So you can imagine on a heat index day of maybe 110 degrees, you would have 8 individuals walking this field, trying to make sure that they have covered the entire field, trying to locate damage. So once we are able to identify the fact that this technology existed, the first thing we thought is that we could then fly this field, locate the damage, and then that would lessen the opportunity we had in order to make people walk the field blindly and save time and energy and safer for our adjusters.
Generally, when I would arrive with a drone, I'll put it in the air about 100 feet and shoot a panoramic. Hot spots or the damaged areas, if it's wind damage or green snap, something to that effect, They're easily seen. We still have boots on the ground, but one of the things we do now is locate those hot spots with the drone and then go out and do our counts in those areas. It gives the farmer a lot of confidence we've looked at everything, because they're usually standing right there with me looking at the iPad as I'm flying it. And if we see a spot that looks different, this kind of stands out, generally we'll fly over to that area, drop the drone down, take some close-up shots.
For Iowa farmer Doug Applegate, the potential uses for this technology in his operation are endless and exciting.
We farm here in western Iowa, just east of the Council Bluffs and Omaha area. We grow corn, soybeans on about a 1,500 acre operation.
Yesterday we flew Doug Applegate's fields, and on June 28th they actually had an extreme incident take place. They had a maximum amount of wind come through, and they had some green snapping in an area of about 40 miles wide and about 40 miles deep. Big area was affected.
We wanted to quantify the number of stocks broken somehow for the crop insurance. And so we did fly with our drone and capture pictures at the time. But I had difficulty in quantifying that information and also associating that with varieties in the fields.
So we weren't sure if we could or not, so we put the drone up in and make sure that we flew the entire thing. And the exciting thing is that he had hybrid planted maps that allowed us to look at the planted maps and the aerial imagery, and we were able to correlate what numbers of hybrids stood better than the next.
If you are considering integrating a drone into your management program, experts say to start off small.
I think that a lot of growers have switched from that, utilizing or viewing a drone as a toy, and now they're really looking at a purpose-built tool, and that's what Quantix is. It is optimized to be able to collect the information they need to help them make better decisions. And I highly encourage an individual that if they would like to uncover data, I would start with a satellite. Starting with a satellite is free and inexpensive. You go out to that area and you can verify it in a big manner, because it's, again, only 10-meter GSD, but you get that data free of charge. Once you understand that, yeah, hey, there is a correlation here, and yes, there is some things that I can do to make my plants better, more efficient, then I suggest that you switch over to the drone. Once that drone is, my recommendation is to make sure that they have a drone company that has the entire ecosystem, that has the drone, the data analytics tool, and the advanced analytics, that it allows them to also export and collects both images at the same time, an RGB and an NIR. We need that multispectral data along with the RGB for historicals.
As farmers brace for another year of tight margins, it's natural to question the value of a UAV. Yet experts argue that the best time for proving a technology's worth is when profit margins are so tight, because you no longer have that margin of error. Making the right decision is critical, and tools like UAVs are proving they can make a difference.
How do you justify? It's hard to put dollars on these things. It's kind of like having a yield monitor, essentially. It's really hard to directly correlate savings or profitability from a yield monitor, but it's what you learn. And you take that learning and you apply it to the next season, and you just continue to learn more, and it evolves into higher yields and higher profits over time.
Hi, I'm Marji Guyler-Alaniz with FarmHer. So throughout all of my journeys for FarmHer, we travel the country. We go near and far to find the stories of women involved in agriculture. And these women are as diverse as anything. So it can be big farms, small farms, everything in between, different parts of the country. But one thing that holds true for all these women is the power of community. In talking about the power of the community, I want to share the story of some women called the Soil Sisters. And what started as potlucks around their farm kitchen tables turned into this network of women that supports each other in their businesses and in their personal lives, and has helped them all grow as FarmHers there in southern Wisconsin. And then let's talk about Heather Deneen. She is an amazing farm mom, farm wife, FarmHer from Texas. She and her husband lost their young son many years ago in a very tragic farming accident, and she has taken the power of community around them, and they have turned that into a memorial day for those who've lost their life in Texas related to agriculture, and it has become a great community there for them. And then let's talk about Marissa Sletsbaum. Marissa is a young woman who was born with Down syndrome, and she, along with the help of her parents, started a greenhouse in Pleasantville, Iowa, and the power of community that she puts out and that supports her is amazing. Everybody there in Pleasantville comes and shops for all of their flowers and plants to decorate their porches. And then let's go to Wanda Shanks. Wanda is a spitfire of a FarmHer from Tennessee. She gathers her community once a month to celebrate all of the birthdays that happen in their community. She's a FarmHer, they have cattle, and then she's a National Senior Olympics basketball champion. She has been a master of creating community in so many different places as a FarmHer. So as you can see, these women run the gamut. They do it all, they're from all over the place, and they're so diverse, but that power of community that they all bring is amazing. So if you want to hear more of my stories, be sure to check out my column in Successful Farming every month, or on agriculture.com, or to see the whole shebang, you can go to farmher.com to hear the stories, read the blogs, and see all the cool photos I get to take.
Join me at sale to see what collectible International Harvester tractors are selling for after these brief messages. Welcome to Steel Deals. In the 1960s, manufacturers were going head-to-head in a horsepower race to see who could build the biggest row crop tractor. Deere's big gun with its 5020. Alice had the 180 diesel. Oliver was in the hunt with its 1950, and Mini Mo offered the impressive G1000. And in 1968, the big gun for International Harvester was this 113 horsepower model 1256. Many young boy climbed on these tractors and felt that impressive surge of horsepower. Now, 50 years later, grown adults are reviving the era of big horsepower by snapping up such tractors for restoration. I believe the keen interest in preserving muscle-bound tractors from the 1960s and 70s is going to drive up the price on this particular 1256, which sells today at a sale being conducted by Weeman Auction. I'm going to go out on a limb and predict that this 1256 could bring more than its $10,700 original price. Let's see if the expert at Weeman Auction also are thinking the same thing before the auction starts. We're talking with Kevin Weeman of Weeman Auction about that IH 1256. Muscle tractors surprise the heck out of me these days, the prices are bringing. However, that tractor may not bring as much. I was kind of building it up in my intro. Turns out it's not in such good shape.
You are correct in that one.
It's worn all over.
Yes, it has. It's had quite a life. If we know where it came from and what its job's been, and if that tractor could talk, what a story it could tell.
So that's the kind of thing, if you're looking for a restoration tractor, you're going to get eaten alive by parts.
Yep, I would think if you're looking for restoration, the problem is the 56 series and the Internationals are very hot right now, and it's hard to find a pristine one will bring big bucks.
You're looking at that 1256 saying, man, if I get that, if that goes for $5,000, what a deal, but you better factor in repair parts.
Absolutely. You know what we found in these antique tractors, and we sell quite a few of them, this sale was probably our lowest volume in antique tractors we've had in a while, mainly because of the weather and the time of year. But if you buy one that's pretty much redone and ready to go, it's usually a better buy than if you buy a fixer-upper and put all the money into it, unless you want to know exactly what you got.
Yeah, that's true. But, you know, or you're an FFA kid, you're looking for a restoration tractor or something along that line, but that wouldn't necessarily be that 1256. They may want to take something on a little older, or doesn't that make any difference anymore?
What we're seeing what's hot is this era of tractors, the early mechanical fronts, something that you can restore, but yet you can still use on your farm. You know, if you have the old tractors with the mags, you know, unless you're smart in how to run them, they don't have a lot of application that you can use on today's modern equipment.
I have to ask, you know, at one time in the collecting, anything green was hot, but my gosh, the prices Olivers are bringing and IHs on the Muscletron, the Mini Mo G1000, especially the Vistas. What has taken off there? Is it just more collectors, or they're just interested in the muscle-bound tractors, those 60s, 70s machines?
I think what a lot of it was there's not a lot of survivors left. A lot of those have either met their maker, went to the iron gods, or there just wasn't that many production models of them. And everyone has their collection filled except for that one tractor that's hard to come by.
And the mechanical fronts, they're rare enough that they really bring a lot of interest.
Absolutely, and I think if you're looking to park your money into something to invest it in, the early mechanical fronts is what I would be looking at.
The one thing you mentioned before is you're a large auction house out here, great yard. I don't know how many acres of machinery you're going to be selling at the auction, but you have a lot of antique tractors. So something your dad got going, right, Gary?
Yep, that was kind of his passion. That's what he liked to do. And we usually, in our row, we have anywhere from 50 to 80 antique tractors.
Really?
This sale, I think we're like 26. We're down for what we normally have, but all our other ones, that's been kind of what we've been running.
And talk about the sales. Now, you're selling equipment here all the time. You also have your online sales.
Yeah.
But your main consignment sales, the one that our viewers should consider either watching online or coming out to the sale, because it's a great auction to come to, when are they held?
We have 4 sales a year, and we've been doing them in February or March. Then we do one in June, one in August prior to harvest, and then one at our December sale for year end.
If I was looking at that wreck of a 1256, would I be safe at $3,000?
The iron guides will buy it for that, but I'm guessing
as
that
a parts tractor.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. I'm guessing that tractor will bring between $400 and $5,500.
Well, thanks for that information, Kevin. Let's go watch the 1256 sell.
I'm 51, David, I'm 52, want to buy, I'm waiting for you, 51, I'm 52, click your button, 52, want to buy, hey, 52, I'm at 5100, David, I'm 52, want to buy, hey, 51, David, I'm 52, want to buy, hey, 51, I'm 52, want to buy, are we done, 5200, 5200, and I have sold tractor, $5,100, 5100 is number 99, it's going to the great state of Minnesota.
Now, the interest in the International 1256 was keen, but this was a real rough tractor. How does the $5,100 given today compare to recent sales of similar tractors? I searched the internet and found 12 such tractors have sold at auction in the last 6 months for between $4,100 up to $14,500. The average price of this lot of tractors was $9,200. Remember, this tractor sold new in 1968 for $10,000. Now, there's little doubt that such fresh off the farm collectible tractors are being highly sought after. If you're in the hunt for a muscle tractor from the 1960s or 70s, be prepared to bid up to 4 to 5 figures to get them home. And if you're sitting on a muscle tractor like this, now's the time to cash in on its value. You can get more information on collectible tractor values in every issue of the Aegis Iron Almanac magazine. And be sure to catch my used equipment reports in every issue of Successful Farming magazine. Information on both publications can be found at agriculture.com. For more information about Weeman Auction, please be sure to go to their website at weemanauction.com. I'll see you next week on another Steel Deals Report. Next up, we feature a farmer innovation to help you get ready for spring, a planter catwalk. So please stay tuned.
I'm James Nelson. I farm here in Audubon County in west central Iowa, and these are the planter racks we made to make filling the planters easier, whether we're emptying bags into the boxes or using the seed tender. It's a lot more convenient to walk across there and not be walking around the harrows and the closing wheels, and it's a lot nicer height to work off of, especially with the box extensions on there. And also made it so they would hinge, so it's easier to service under there. It saves some time when we're filling the planter. It's more efficient, not having to walk around, can just walk right across there and not be stumbling over things. It's primarily made of 1.5-inch square box tubing, and the brackets to the frame are made of 2-inch by 1/4 wall. And altogether, I'd say the materials would be somewhere in the ballpark of $250 to $300 brand new, and also with the expanded metal. For more about this idea and other farmer inventions, go to agriculture.com/TV.
Please join us next week for what will be another outstanding show. We feature a farm service truck created from an ambulance. And the engine man, Ray Bohax, is back offering another one of those great tips of his, this time on wheel bearing maintenance and repair. We track the prices being paid for late model John Deere 4-wheel drive 9360Rs. And on All Around the Farm, we feature another innovation from Roger Johnson of Minnesota. See you next week right here on Successful Farming. Hi, I'm Dave Mowitz. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit subscribe right here if you haven't already, and click that little bell right here to be notified when we post a new video. And click here to see more great episodes from Successful Farming Television.